Alright, time for the skills guide for Might and Magic VII. So we're going to be going over all of the weapons, armor, magic schools as a whole, and every other skill. Starting off with the weapons. First we have Axe, which can be grandmastered by rangers, mastered by knights, can get to expert for paladins and archers, and every other class cannot learn it. You can get axe in the axe skill in a blacksmith. Rangers automatically start with axe. Expert axe can be found in Harmondale or Avley, Master in Stone City, and Grandmaster in Tatalia. Every skill point in axe gives a bonus to hit chance. At Expert, every point reduces recovery rate. Master adds attack damage, and Grandmaster gives, it says it gives a chance to have armor class of the target. I'm pretty sure this is bugged. There actually is no having armor class at all. And there doesn't seem to be any way to check if it actually does work. Axes are pretty garbage, just like they are in 6. Obviously the same problems exist for axes in 7, in that it's really slow because they have a base recovery rate of 100. You would have to put a fair amount of points in axe. Still, it has the bonus to damage, but it's so slow that it's not even worth it. You're probably going to end up having to get a swift axe, which, to be fair, is a lot easier to get than in 6, because Grandmaster Enchant item is definitely going to give you access to a swift axe, but the downside is that that's the only property that the axe is going to have. So while other items can get the recovery a lot slower, faster, or reduced, axe is basically stuck with a no enchantment axe, basically, just to hit as fast as the other items. The artifacts are kind of interesting. There's Splitter, which has explosive impact, which is kind of interesting for a melee weapon. You have Ghoul's Bane, which gives you immunity to paralysis, not really relevant, with protection from magic, and 3 to 18 fire damage, which is alright in terms of bonuses, but you can get that with Master Fire Aura, so it's not really all that remarkable. And then Amok, which gives you 100 might and endurance, not very important. It's basically just a little bit extra hit points and a few extra damage. Minotaur's Axe, which just gives 25 might, not very good. And then Zokar's Axe, which is of earth magic, which is largely irrelevant. Like I said before, the recovery rate is really slow, and axes don't particularly do an amazing amount of damage. They're kind of on par with spears, except much more investment, and they do have the damage, but it's just not enough. Plus, another massive mark against axes that well, I guess it's not really a mark because really Master is really all that matters because Grandmaster is pointless. But honestly, I wouldn't even recommend getting Axe on Rangers because they're just too slow. Even with Armsmaster in this game, it's just like you can get Expert Spear and just start putting points in that or Armsmaster. Not really Armsmaster if you're a Ranger, but you do that and you're probably going to end up with better damage. And you don't have to worry about getting the recovery really low. Because even if you had good light magic, and you'd have to put a fair amount of points in Armsmaster if you're a knight to even make this viable, and for a ranger that's not really attainable, so I wouldn't even recommend Axe for a ranger. This is a C tier skill. Not very good, even though you can do a lot of damage. The amount of work you have to put to get there is kind of not worth it. Next we have Bow. Bow can be learned by every class, just like in 6. Sorcerers and monks can only get basic bow. Druids, clerics, paladins, and thieves and knights can get to expert bow. Rangers and rangers can get master bow, and then archers can get grandmaster. You can get a bow in a blacksmith, the skill. Archers start with the skill automatically. You can get expert bow in Tellurian Forest or Bracada Desert, master in Nyan, and grandmaster in Harmondale. Every skill point in bow adds hit chance. Expert reduces recovery rate. Master gives you 2 arrows. And grandmaster adds damage. Like I said, in 6, bows have the same problem. They're too slow to really use as a primary way of dealing damage. It requires a lot of pumping bow skill. And an Armsmaster does not add to bow, so you're basically stuck. You can kind of speed the process up by getting a swift bow, which are easy to get with enchant item. But you're still looking at, so you get a speed boost, you get a swift bow, you're at 70 haste, that gives you, that makes it go down to 45. Maybe you can get, with light magic, like a little bit lower recovery, but you're still looking at like 30 points in bow before it really gets good. In which case, it is obviously powerful. You can, with the damage bonus, you can pretty much kill most monsters within a few seconds. Although it still has the problem where it only works in ranged. So I would put bow in B tier. Yeah, B tier, because you can't just get a bow and then immediately dish out a lot of damage. It takes a lot of work, and obviously there are more effective ways to get a lot of damage that requires half the investment. So I still don't really think they're that good for a primary way of damage, but obviously they can be great in damage if you put the work into it. So I put bow at B tier. Also, we need to talk about the artifacts. We have Ulysses, which gives a plus 50 accuracy and 9 to 12 water damage. That's all right. It's not crazy good. And the perfect bow, which has no enchantment at all. It's just a little extra damage. It's not swift, so I wouldn't. Neither of the bows are swift, so I would not recommend them. Also, there's Anya Selving, which gives a +5 bonus to bow. That's kind of nice, but on the other hand, it doesn't have swift, so I wouldn't really recommend any of the artifact bows, because you're pretty much required to have swift bow for the bow skill to be any good. So that's it doesn't really matter what bow you get, because it's really just about pumping the skill. So B tier for bow. Up next, we have Dagger. Every class except for clerics can learn Dagger. Sorcerers, knights, monks, paladins, archers, rangers can all get expert Dagger. Druids can get master Dagger, and thieves can get Grandmaster Dagger. You can learn Dagger at a blacksmith. Thieves and druids start with Dagger. You can get expert Dagger in Tellurian Forest or Burkina Desert, master in Nyan, and Grandmaster in either the sewers in Arathia or Titalia. And every skill point gives a bonus to hit chance. At expert, you can use daggers in the left hand. Master gives you a chance. Every skill point gives you a chance to triple damage equal to skill, and Grandmaster gives a bonus to attack damage. Now, in this game, they fixed the bug for recovery and dual wielding, so now when you dual wield items, it's only counting the item that has the slower recovery in your hand, not combined together. So dual wielding is actually good in this game. With that being said, Dagger is not as good in 7 because you have Armsmaster. Getting lower recovery is not as much of a problem. And the damage that you get for Dagger is, for most of the game, is not going to be that good compared to sword or spear. Obviously, if you pumped it high enough, you start. It does give damage, and it gives the chance to do triple damage. So it's capable of dealing a lot of damage if you put a lot of points into it, but that's not really viable in a regular run. There is a dagger that you get for completing the Assassin promotion on Dark, which gives 5 body damage and +2 Disarm Trap, completely worthless. And Old Nick, which gives you +5 to disarm traps. Again, not very good. You're probably going to have disarm trap items that give +20 by the time you get this. 8 points of poison damage, not really all that great. And then elf slaying, which is not relevant at all, and you have to be evil on top of that. So daggers, obviously, if you're going with a thief, maybe it's viable to do thief, to do double daggers or dagger sword. And then if you pump dagger enough, you can deal enough damage to where you're even challenging the knight. But daggers really aren't as powerful as they are in 6, simply because there are a lot better weapons you can use. So I put daggers at B tier. You don't really want to bother with them except for thieves, maybe druids and sorcerers. I wouldn't even recommend archers. I just do a two-handed spear. I think that's going to give you more damage than wielding a dagger. So B tier skill. Up next we have Mace. Mace cannot be learned by sorcerers, rangers, archers, or monks. Druids and thieves can get expert. Knights and clerics can get master, and paladins can get grandmaster. Mace. You can obtain mace skill in a blacksmith. Clerics and paladins start with the mace skill. You can get expert mace in Stone City or Arathia, master in Titalia, and grandmaster in Deja. For every skill point you put in mace, you get a bonus to hit chance. At expert, you get a bonus to damage. Master is a chance to stun equal to skill, and grandmaster is the chance to paralyze equal to skill. Now, maces are obviously they have the benefit of being able to get damage bonuses, and the paralyze ability, it's nice when it goes off. Then you can just immobilize monsters, kill them at your leisure. But in terms of weapons in the game, it's not going to be doing as much damage. With the addition of Armsmaster, it's a lot easier to rack up your damage with skill points without having to rely on the skill themselves. So Mace is just kind of alright. If you have paladins, then the Mace is pretty good. If you don't have paladins, well, I mean, clerics can't use other weapons except for another, which we'll get to. So obviously okay to have on those two classes are kind of necessary to, in fact. Maybe you can make a case for not going with Mace on a paladin, but maybe the paralyze is still good enough. But other classes, not really worth it. It's definitely not worth it to have a knight, have Mace. There is one artifact, Justice, which gives a slays undead, minus 40 speed, and it's of mind and body. That's all right. That's, you know, if you have a cleric, maybe even a paladin if they're your primary spellcaster, improving your healing is pretty good. But obviously in terms of damage, it's going to be below other weapons, so I put Mace at B tier, along with Dagger and Bow. Alright. Next we have Spear. Spear can not be learned by thieves, clerics, druids, or sorcerers. They can be learned to expert with monks and rangers, as well as paladins. They can archers can get Master Spear, and knights can get Grandmaster Spear. You can learn Spear in a blacksmith, although weaponsmith, whatever. There are no classes that start with Spear. You can get expert in Avali or Tidewater, master in Tularian, and grandmaster in Stone City. Every skill point in Spear gives you a bonus to hit chance. Expert gives you a bonus to damage. Master allows you to use a spear in one hand, and Grandmaster adds armor class. Spears are obviously very powerful. In terms of deep damage, they're going to be at the top. Obviously, they get bonus to damage per skill point. Combine this with Armsmaster, and you can be dealing a lot of damage. With Spear, the spears themselves are also going to be doing a good amount of damage. There is one artifact, Gibbet, which does a decent amount of damage, which is a halberd. It gives undead slaying, dragon slaying, and demon slaying, which is kind of a whatever bonus. And there's also Chirel, which is a trident with a plus 18 damage bonus, so really high damage, and it also gives increased weapon speed. Spears are very good. They only have 80 recovery, along with maces. It's easy to get the recovery down with the addition of Armsmaster, so you're going to be getting to the minimum recovery pretty quickly. So you're going to be hitting as fast as a dagger, but doing a lot more damage. If you're doing any melee, then I would recommend Spear. Even classes like archers and rangers, I think Spear is probably your best bet, because just because you at expert you already have damage. So the armor class is kind of nice, but if you can't dual wield with a sword, then expert Spear is going to be about the best you can get in terms of damage. So I would put spears at A tier. Definitely good weapons and the ones that you should be using for any melee characters. Up next we have Staff. Staff can be learned, cannot be learned by thieves. Archers, rangers, clerics, and druids can learn basic. Knights can get to expert. Sorcerers can get master, and monks can get grandmaster. You can learn staff in a blacksmith. Sorcerers start with staff. You can get expert staff in Harmondale and Nyan. You can get master in Bracada, grandmaster in Avley. Every skill point in staff, you get an attack bonus to your hit chance. Expert, you get a bonus to armor class. Master, you get a chance to stun. And grandmaster, it's usable with the unarmed skill. Stabs are kind of varied in how good they are depending on what class you have. Obviously, you have monk, then the bonus damage you get is going to be pretty good, although you have to get a swift staff because it's going to be too slow otherwise. And I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if it's bugged in the vanilla version that if you lose Armsmaster points or not, but I guess that's kind of nice. Sorcerers getting staff, again, it's not very relevant in terms of melee, but there is on Dark Path, there is a staff that that gives a bonus to dark magic, and as well as a meditation skill plus 15. So if you have master meditation, then you put that on and you're getting an insane amount of spell points. I can't remember the exact amount. It's like hundreds, like at least 200 or so. So that's really good. Of course, you have to get staff in an RNG drop, which is not guaranteed at all. So the staff is good depending on what your luck in the game is. Kind of tough to rank because it's not like a bow or dagger, which can be good if you put a lot of investment into it, because the staff skill, you don't really want to get past 10 because you're not getting any damage bonus, and the armor class doesn't really matter, so that's kind of garbage. I'd put stabs at C tier. They're not really all that good. They'll give you a little bit extra damage for a monk later on, and if you get Etheric staff, that can be really good in terms of giving you a lot of spell points, but it's obviously very situational, so you can't really guarantee that you can get something like that, so I'd put stabs at C tier. They're not completely worthless though, like they were in 6, so that is one bonus. Up next we have Sword. Sword can not be learned by clerics, druids, or sorcerers. Rangers, archers, and monks can get expert. And then thieves and paladins can get master, and grandmaster. Sword is available to knights. You can get sword in a blacksmith. Knights, I believe only knights start with sword. And you can get expert sword in Arathia or Tatalia, master in Deja, and grandmaster in Harmondale. Every skill point you put in sword gives you a bonus to hit chance. At expert, reduces recovery rate. Master allows the sword to be used in the left hand, and grandmaster gives a bonus to armor class. Swords are actually pretty good in 7, even despite not having the bonus to damage, because really you want to be focusing on Armsmaster. At least with a knight, and the dual wielding is actually viable in 7, since the Armsmaster is only giving you a bonus for one weapon, I believe, so it doesn't really matter that you're not getting the damage bonus. There are a fair amount of artifacts. Villain's Blade, which is vampiric, that's kind of nice, but you also have vampiric weapons, so it's not really all that necessary. Elfsbane, which is of shielding and is Elf Slayer, kind of garbage. Puck, which is swift, which can be pretty good, I guess, since the recovery is kind of high at 90, but you probably won't need it. Iron Feather, which gives 6 to 15 electrical damage, that's kind of nice, but really the main artifact is Wallace, which gives an Armsmaster plus 10, which if you have Grandmaster, that effectively amounts to getting a plus 20 bonus on top of the plus 12, so really powerful. If you have paladins, then they're not really as good because you're not getting the any damage bonuses, but on the other hand, you can dual wield with a mace, so although I think at some point you start losing damage with a mace or with a dual wielding, because if you get the mace skill high enough. So there are a lot of good swords that you can get in the game that do a fair amount of damage, and if you put Armsmaster, it's also very flexible in terms of the fact that you can dual wield with them, unlike a lot of other items. So if you have any Armsmaster, this skill is pretty good. If you don't have Armsmaster, it's kinda not as good. By Armsmaster I mean master, really, because you know that's where the damage comes in. So even though the damage is pretty good, obviously, I'm inclined to put sword at B tier. Simply because there's no damage bonus. And there's, even with spear, I think there's like you can make a case for the two-hander, since at some point you're not really getting much of a bonus from sword because you're not getting any damage. But it's obviously good, good reliable damage dealing weapon, so I would still put it at B tier. Up next we have Unarmed. Unarmed cannot be learned by clerics, druids, or sorcerers. Paladins, archers, and rangers can get basic. Knights and thieves can get expert. And monks can get grandmaster. You can get unarmed skill from a temple. Monks automatically start with the skill. You can get expert in Harmondale or Bakata Desert, master in Evanmorn Island, and grandmaster in Arathia. Every skill point in Unarmed gives you a attack bonus. At expert, it gives a bonus to damage. Master doubles it, and grandmaster gives you a chance to evade an attack equal to the skill. Unarmed is really good for monks. It's pretty useless on other classes, but for monks it's going to be the best damage dealer. And it's capable of doing a lot because of enchant item and enchanting a item that gives plus 17 unarmed. So that's giving you plus 34 damage right there, just with one item. There's also Hands of the Master artifact, which if you get is going to give you plus 10 unarmed, which does stack, so that's another 20 right there. So you're capable of getting crazy damage with unarmed. So obviously that's very powerful. There's not really much more to say. It's kind of useless on every other class, but obviously for monks it's very good. So I would put this at A tier because obviously if you have the damage that you get for unarmed is going to make it worth it. Well, on the other hand, it's kind of worthless on other classes. So, although you can really say the same thing with a lot of classes in this game due to the skill limitations, but it doesn't have the flexibility that Spear does. Because obviously you can make a spear work on every class, so that's kind of a downside to unarmed. On the other hand, the damage that you're getting from unarmed is going to be really good. So I think maybe A tier is a bit too high. The evasion is pretty nice, although it's not going to happen a lot unless you get the skill really high. Honestly, I think I'm just going to put Unarmed again in X tier, simply because it's kind of confusing that other classes can learn it even though they can't really use it. So obviously A tier for a monk, not really viable for any other class. So yeah, I guess X tier. And finally, for weapons, we have Blaster. Blaster can be learned by every class. You get it after killing Robert the Wise or Tilberti, or you. I think you also can get it. You get the skill when you talk to Archibald, when you enter Land of the Giants. But basically, it's basically the same as its 6. It gives a bonus to attack, and then up to Grandmaster you get ×4 per skill point. It has a base recovery of 30, which you can get down to minimum very easily with haste and 25 speed. I think in the original you can actually get 0 recovery, so there's no cooldown time at all. Obviously, very overpowered. You shoot things instantly, requires no setup. S tier skill all the way. So that's gonna do it for the weapon skills. Okay, time for the magic schools. So first we have fire magic, which can be learned at basic level for thieves, can be learned to expert for rangers, can be learned to master for archers and druids, and can be learned to grandmaster for sorcerers, and then of course clerics, paladins, monks, and knights cannot use it. You can get the fire skill in the Guild of Fire. Sorcerers automatically start with fire magic. Expert can be learned in Tolarian Forest or Tatalia. Master can be learned in Harmondale, and Grandmaster can be learned in Arathia. And there is an artifact that gives a bonus to fire magic. The Phyrexian Crown, which doesn't really give much, and I don't think it's particularly good because fire magic is a lot worse in 7 because there's not really any good spells, and there are a lot of damage dealing spells that you get from air magic. You get the fairy ring very early. You can get the damage pretty good there, and then dark, obviously most powerful. The offensive spells for fire magic though, kind of mediocre. I guess you have Meteor Shower, which is alright. AoE spell if you don't have Armageddon, but Not really all that good. Fire Spike is garbage. Firebolt. Plus there are a lot of monsters that resist fire damage, like devils. So if you're playing Dark Path, there's fire res, but really you can just get pedestals for that. There's one in Nyan. So what do you really get for fire magic? Mainly you get haste. Like, that's basically it. You can cast haste very early on, and for a melee party that's going to be pretty good. It's gonna since you don't have access to light magic until fairly later on, and the same goes for dark paths, and obviously you would want haste for blaster too. So it does have that specific use of haste. That's basically all it gets. And even if you have like light magic, then you don't even need haste. It's just kind of a nice, useful thing to have, I guess, so that you don't have to cast Hour of Power again. So really, you don't really want to bother putting this skill up beyond 4 ranks. Like, there's basically no reason, unless you just want to have a longer lasting haste. The spells are not very good. The damage is going to be greatly underwhelming compared to other spells, so I put fire magic at B tier. The spells are not very good, but just for the haste, which is obviously very powerful spell, going to make you hit a lot faster, more damage. That's a reason enough that you should get it in most cases. So, but I would not recommend bothering more than 4 ranks into and getting expert fire. Alright, next we have air magic. Air magic is learnable by thieves at basic, rangers at expert, archers and druids at master, sorcerers at grandmaster, and again clerics, paladins, monks, and knights cannot use it. You can learn air magic in the school of the Guild of Air. Archers start with air automatically. You can obtain expert air in Tolarian and Tatalia. You can get master in Alve and grandmaster in Mercata Desert. There is a fairy ring that you can get very early on in the game that gives you a increases your air effectiveness by 50%. So because of that, air magic is really powerful very early on. You have obviously Spark's going to be very powerful with the fairy ring. Great damage dealing spell. It's going to be good pretty much till the end of the game. It's only overshadowed by Shrapnel, which is even better than Sparks. But obviously you have, on top of that, Fly. Obviously I've already gone over Fly being very useful and a great spell to have. But you also have Invisibility, which is very useful in going and getting treasures in areas that are too powerful at your level, and even like Implosion, which is going to be a very good damage spell because it doesn't have to shoot a projectile, and also you're getting a bonus with the fairy ring. Very nice skill, obviously S tier. Not really much to say more than that. Next we have water magic. Again, thieves can learn basic water magic, rangers can learn expert, archers and druids can learn master, sorcerers can learn grandmaster, Clerics, paladins, monks, and knights cannot learn it at all. You can get water magic in the School of Water. You can get expert water magic in Tolarian and or Avali. You can get master in Nyan and grandmaster in Harmondale. And I think there is, yeah, there's one artifact, the 7-link boots, which gives you a little bit of speed and bonus to water magic, which is kind of nice because it gives you a little bit of bonus to your Lloyd's Beacon. Basically, like I said, Town Portal, Lloyd's Beacon, still as powerful as they've always been. Plus you have Enchant Item, which is going to give you a lot of powerful bonuses to Armsmaster, dodging, unarmed. Very good. S tier spell, no questions asked. Obviously, you want to get this to 10. For sure. Alright, so next we have Earth Magic. Which, again, thieves can learn to basic, rangers can get to expert, archers and druids can get to master, sorcerers can get to grandmaster, knights, monks, paladins, and clerics cannot learn it. You can get Earth Magic in the Guild of Earth. Druids automatically start with Earth Magic. You can get Expert in Harmondale or Stone City, Master in Tolarian, and Grandmaster in Deja. There is Zokar's Axe, which is a guaranteed quest item you get in the Druid promotion, the second one on Light Path. Although I think you can get it even without the quest, but it's really garbage. It's an axe. Like, you're not really going to be using your ranger for any earth magic, except if you're doing a melee only party. Earth magic for the most part has kind of garbage spells, but like with Mind in MM6, it has telekinesis, which I've already gone over being a very good spell. Allows you to click on things from far away. You don't need disarm if you have it, because you can just disarm everything. Really good utility spell. Not necessary, or not. It's not going to make the game a lot easier, but it's going to be definitely useful to have. But I would not recommend going beyond 7 ranks, since there's really not much else that you get from Earth. So it's worth it just for telekinesis, so I put it at A tier. So that's going to do it for the elemental schools. Next we have the self schools, starting off with spirit magic, which clerics can get to grandmaster, druids and archers can get to master. Wait, no. Druids and paladins can get to master. Rangers can get to expert. Monks can get to expert on light path. On dark path, they can only get to basic. You can get spirit magic in the Guild of Spirits, and paladins start with it automatically. You can get expert in Harmondale and or Tatalia. You can get master in Arathia and Grandmaster in Tularian Forest. There is a ring that you get in the Haunted Mansion that is guaranteed, that gives you a bonus to spirit magic. So that's pretty good. Spirit is, like I said, in 6. It's very good if you don't have light magic. So if you're going dark path, Spirit is a lot better. If you're doing any melee, because that's your primary means of buffing your damage. Plus with the Ghost Ring, you're going to be getting pretty good damage bonuses. Arguably, well, no, because there's an artifact, but it's still going to be nice with that Ghost Ring. Obviously, if you're going light path, it's not as necessary. So, but it still has preservation, which I've gone over being a very nice spell, very OP. Not having to worry about your characters dying from massive damage, that's really good. You want this skill to get to master simply so that you can cast it on your whole party, because casting it individually is very slow. Although you could settle for expert, I would at least get to master just for that. Obviously, the Bless and Heroism is going to be good if you don't have light magic. It's not really as relevant if you do, but for the preservation, definitely this is an A tier skill. Up next we have Mind Magic, which again can be learned to Grandmaster by clerics, can be learned to master by druids and paladins, can be learned to expert by rangers. Monks can get expert on light path. On dark path they're stuck with basic. You can get mind skill in the Mind Guild. You can get expert in Arathia or Nyan, and you can get master in Avli and grandmaster in Titalia. There is an artifact that gives a bonus to mind magic. In fact, there are 2 actually. First, there's Justice, the Mace, which also gives bonus to body magic, and then there is the Ruler's Ring, which gives bonus to mind magic and dark magic. But both of those artifacts are better for the other bonuses they give, because mind magic is completely garbage. There's literally no good spells in the Mind School at all. All the spells are crap. They're not necessary at all. They're not completely worthless, obviously. They have some use, but there's literally like no reason to get mind magic at all. Unless you want to rush to like the archer promotion before you get protection from magic, or you want to go like to Evanmorn early on or something, but generally speaking it's not very useful at all, so I put it at C tier. Not completely worthless, but you can definitely never get mind magic and you would not notice, because there's nothing here that you will miss whatsoever. So next we have body magic, which is unfortunately off the page again. I don't know why the miss skills are running off, but not the magic skills. But like I said, for body, or for the other self skills, obviously Grandmaster is available to clerics, Master is available to druids and paladins. Rangers can get expert. monks can get expert on light path. On dark path, they are stuck with basic. You can get body skill in the body guild, and clerics automatically start with it. Expert can be obtained in Harmondale or Arathia, Master in Titalia, and Grandmaster in Avlee. Like I said, there is a artifact that gives a bonus to body magic, being Justice. It's a mace. You can only get it on good path, which is pretty nice because body magic is obviously very OP. S tier, obviously you have regeneration. That's going to make your party heal incredibly fast. You have heal, which is also nice utility. Power cure is still also a nice, well, it's not nice simply because you have regeneration, but you know, the healing is going to be really good. Plus, obviously, you have protection from magic, which is one of the best spells in this game. Protecting against the death effect from Robert the Wise, Tilberti, and obviously Titans. You don't want to go this game without some body magic. S tier skill all the way. Definitely want to get that to Grandmaster for sure, for the protection from death effect from protection from magic. So that's going to do it for the self schools. Now we're on to light and dark, starting off for light magic. Clerics and sorcerers can get 2 Grandmaster light magic. Paladins and archers can get basic. Obviously this skill is only available on light path. There is a sun cloak that you get in the Temple of the Sun, I believe, and that gives a bonus to light spells. There's also another artifact that also gives a bonus to light magic. Although you really don't need, fortunately they don't stack, and you really don't need 2 light casters, because really what light magic is a way to just buff your damage, buff your stats, buff your attack, hit chance, your luck, resistances. Like, it basically has all of the stat boosting. Day of Protection, Hour of Power, Day of the Gods. So if you have light magic, you want to have one caster that just goes in on light magic, gets that as high as possible, so that you can get you know, your stats and your damage as high as possible. It's going to be really good. Guaranteed luck bonus from the Sun Cloak. Also, you're going to be getting a pretty high damage output with this skill. S tier, obviously. Also, like I should mention, you only can get light magic on when you choose paths, so the skill's not going to be available to you until you get the second promotion for the sorcerer and cleric, and the paladin and archer promotions. And you have to clear the the Walls of Mist quest. Just to mention that real quick. So you can only get it towards the midpoint of the game, but S tier, obviously. Up next we have Dark Magic. Dark Magic can be obtained to Grandmaster with Sorcerers and Clerics. You can get Basic for Paladins and Archers. Only available on Dark Path. It's only available after you choose a side, get the last promotion for the classes I just mentioned, and you complete the Breeding Pit quest. Oh, also, just to backtrack a bit, sorry, you can get, for Light Magic, you can get Expert in Rakata Desert, Master in Celeste, and Grandmaster in Celeste as well. Dark Magic, and you have to learn it in the Light Guild. For Dark Magic, you can only learn it in the Dark Guild. You can get Expert in Deja, Master in the Pit, and Grandmaster, I believe it's Archibald, and eventually Castor. For Light, it's Resurrectra. There is an artifact, the Mooncloak, that you get for the Temple of the Moon, I think it's called, which is guaranteed. There's also Etheric Staff, as I mentioned, that gives a bonus to Dark, and the Ruler's Ring. So a lot of items that give bonuses to Dark Magic in this game, which is very nice because this is the best damage output that you're going to get. It's even better than in 6. Obviously, Shrapnel, very powerful. Best single target damage spell that you can use. You can one-shot anything very easily. One reason to just go all in on Sorcerers and a Cleric, and just you're going to have a very high-powered party as soon as you get the Breeding Pit quest done. Also, you have, obviously, Armageddon, great way to farm experience, clear out entire outdoor areas. Soul Drinker is obviously very nice, also good for healing. S tier, obviously, very overpowered. Obviously, one of the main reasons to go Dark Path, just for the spells over Light Path. Really good. Alright, so now we have the armor skills. First we have Leather Armor, which can be learned by every class in the game. Sorcerers, Druids, Clerics, Paladins, they can all get Expert. Rangers, Archers, and Monks, as well as Knights, can get Master, and Thieves can get Grandmaster. You can get leather in an Armsmith. Knights automatically start with leather. You can get Expert in Harmondale or Avley. You can get Master in Nyon and Grandmaster in Tolarian. There's also an artifact, Herrick's Leather, which gives a bonus to stealing and disarm traps, completely relevant. Water walking, also relevant. Plus 50 luck. Okay, but not great. Leather is overshadowed by other armor skills. You really only want it if there's nothing better. Even the class that can get to Grandmaster Thieves, there's a strong, I think probably it's better to just get dodging, which I'll get into in a minute, but obviously monks, they can get Grandmaster dodging, so they can get leather on top of it, so it's good in that sense. So it's really largely dependent on what armor is available to you, what skills you get, but I would generally say it's inferior to 2 other armor skills, which I'll get to in a minute, so I put it at B tier. But obviously, sorcerers and druids have to use it, since that's all they get. There's a case early on for paladins, maybe clerics, because they don't get the recovery penalty removed for chain. So, well, oh, also I didn't talk about what you get. So you get bonus to armor class, you get expert, the recovery penalty is eliminated, so that's kind of nice. At master, you get an extra point in armor class, and then grandmaster, you get a bonus to elemental resistances. So I guess one of the benefits, I guess, of leather is the bonuses you get. You get 2 points to AC, which is kind of good. On the other hand, there's not really much of a way to boost your AC other than pumping the skill, and you really don't want to be pumping leather skill, so I'd still put it at B tier, since it's just not as good as other skills, but it's still very useful. Up next we have chain. You can learn to Grandmaster on archers. Rangers can get Master as well as Knights. Thieves, Paladins, and Clerics can get Expert. Sorcerers, Druids, and Monks cannot get the skill at all. You can get Chain in an Armorsmith. Expert can be obtained in Tellurian or Tidewater, being Tatalia. Master can be obtained at Avley, and Grandmaster can be obtained in Deja. And again, I forgot for leather. Leather can be, you can get to Expert in Harmondale or Avley. Master can be in Nyon, and Grandmaster Tellurian. I'm messing up today. There is a chain artifact, I think, called the Governor's Leather, which is almost completely useless. It's just +10 to statistics and half damage from missile, which is worthless because the shielding is kind of useless unless you have the potion. And also the Elven Chainmail that you get from the Archmage, which is plus a bonus to recovery, which is kind of cool because it gives you a -10 to recovery for rates, which I think, I don't remember if it's recovery rate for like it's automatically a +10 or a -10, or if it's on, I think it's just a -10, but I could be mistaken. But it's obviously pretty good, especially for like a cleric, for instance. But chain is not particularly great. the skill, you get obviously every skill point gets a bonus to armor class. At expert, it's halved. Master, it's eliminated, and Grandmaster gives you 2/3 damage from physical attacks, which is kind of nice, but it's good on archers, rangers. It's all right, I guess. Clerics, you have that recovery penalty, but I guess it's not very important since you're not using a cleric for melee anyway. It's a B tier skill. Good, but you can definitely go without it. And it's debatably the classes that can use chain. There's arguably a better or a comparable skill that they can use. Up next we have plate. Plate can be learned to Grandmaster by Knights, Master by Paladins. No other class can learn it. You can get it at an Armsmith. You can get Expert in Stone City and Tatalia. You can get Master in Arathia and Grandmaster in Bracada Desert. There is a plate artifact, Yoruba, which basically gives you immunity to disease, paralysis. Basically like it's like Master Protection from Magic, so it's not very good. And 25 endurance, which isn't very good either. So that's not particularly great, and aside from the fact that it's 60 armor class. Every skill point gives you a bonus to armor class. At expert, the recovery penalty is halved. At master, you get half damage from missile attacks, and Grandmaster, the recovery penalty is eliminated. Plate is a very nice way of getting damage reduction. The half damage from physical attacks is going to make your Knights tank very easy. The armor class is obviously going to be the best in the game, rivaled only by dodging with a good item. Obviously the half damage from physical attacks makes plate worth it. If you have a knight, even for a paladin, they can get the half damage, so I think you probably just have to suck it up, and maybe you can get leather in the meantime, but just really pump well, you don't want to pump Armsmaster, but maybe get an Armsmaster item or something, and then so that you can get that recovery, so that you can really utilize the plate, because the half damage reduction is very good. I'd put plate at A tier. Very good armor skill to have for the classes that can use it. Up next we have shield. Shield can be learned to Grandmaster by Knights and Paladins, Master by Clerics. Druids, Rangers can get Expert. Thieves can get Basic. Monks, Archers, and Sorcerers cannot learn it. And every skill point added to shield gives a bonus to armor class. At expert, the recovery penalty is eliminated. At master, skill is added to armor class again, so it's 2 points at 2 AC at master, and then Grandmaster gives you the half damage from missile attacks, which is completely worthless. You can get shield in an Armorsmith. You can get expert in Arathia, master in Tatalia, and Grandmaster in Evanmorn Island. there are a few shields that are artifacts. You have Celebrim, which gives you immunity to stone and half damage from missile attacks. Kind of worthless. Endurance 50, I guess, is kind of nice, but it's only going to be a little bit of extra health. Glory Shield gives you of spirit magic. I guess I didn't mention that for the spirit ring, but that's another spirit item. Shield skill +5, which I guess gives you an extra 10 armor class. So that's a pretty good AC. Shield minus body and mind resistance, not very big a deal. Shield is kind of not good for any class except for clerics and maybe druids as well, because you would much prefer to get the damage bonus from dual wielding for a knight. Paladins, they're not going to be doing as much damage, so I guess there's a case for them getting shield, but I think having the extra sword would be better. It's just gonna give some nice armor class bonus. If you have a cleric, they're good, or a druid. Knights and paladins not as good. I put shield at B tier as well, simply because the armor class bonus, especially for the clerics and druids, you can get a fair amount. Like, if you think about it, like, you have a good shield +20. If you get this to master, you're talking like 35 armor class. If you get that artifact, then you're getting close to 50 armor class from that one shield, or you can get another enchantment from the shield, so it's pretty good for that reason. But and this is obviously true for other armors as well. You obviously get an enchantment from the leather, so that can give you a bonus to hit points. It maybe can give you a bonus to Armsmaster, so there is a case for the shield being good, but obviously for Armsmaster you would prefer to have another item if it's a shield, so I'd still put it at B tier. And the last armor skill we have to talk about is dodging, which cannot be learned by clerics, druids, or sorcerers. Paladins can get basic. Knights, archers, and rangers can get expert. Thieves can get master. And monks can get grandmaster. You can get dodging from temple. You can get expert in Harmondale or Bracada. You can get master in Evanmorn. You can get grandmaster in Arathia. I believe it's thieves. No, thieves get stealing, right? I think it's monks that start with dodging. I'm not sure, but I think that's the case. And basically what dodging is that it gives a bonus to armor class. At expert it's 2, at master it's 3. So every skill point you get in dodging, you're getting 3 at master. And then grandmaster you can... it's added on with leather. So a monk, it's very powerful. There is a artifact, Hands of the Master, which gives a +10 to dodging. So that artifact is giving you +30 armor class at Master, and it can also stack with an item of dodging. Dodging is really good for the classes that can get it to for thieves and monks. Even at expert, it's still pretty good because you can get an item and enchant it, get +17 speed. I mean +17 to dodging. What that means is, if you have it at Master, that is 51 armor class. If you have dodging at Master already, that's another 21, so you're getting 72 armor class at Master, which is more armor class than Yoruba at Grandmaster Plate. So for thieves, you may as well just get dodging, to be honest, because you're going to get more AC from a dodging item. And obviously with monks, you have the dodging items plus Hands of the Master. That's already, you're looking at 100 before you even add in leather armor, which then makes it like, if you think like the skill, if you have the highest leather, so you're at like close to, like you're at like 140 armor class, like almost 150, which is incredibly powerful. Very hard for your character to take hits. So really good skill, obviously. For monks especially. Thieves it's still pretty good on thieves as well. I'd say it's better if you get the enchant item. And I mean, you are missing out on the enchantment from the leather, but I think the armor class is going to be way better, so it's definitely worth it. Because Master, you're getting like what, 40 at most. Yeah, I think it's better for the thief to have Master, and even like archers and rangers, it's still pretty good on them too, because if you think about it, if you get the dodging item +17, that's +34 plus the expert, you're at 42 armor class just with 4 points in dodging. With the Governor's Leather, that's about the same at Master than the Governor's Leather, and about the same at Grandmaster too, like a little bit more at Grandmaster. But the +36 chain is kind of rare to get anyway. You're mostly going to be stuck with the Repleasant, which is giving you less armor class. Obviously, you do have the 2/3 from physical damage for chain on Grandmaster, and you do have that enchantment that you get from chain, which would probably make it look better for them, but you only need that. You get the same amount of armor class with just with putting 4 points into dodging for the classes that primarily want to use chain, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. it's only not really good on paladins, but obviously you want to be going with plate anyway. So I put dodging at A tier. It's a good armor skill even for beyond monks. So pretty good for in that front. Obviously, again, you want to get the enchanted items of dodging. If you get Hands of the Master, that's even going to stack more armor class. You're looking at a pretty beefy character right there, so definitely recommend it. Obviously for monks and even for thieves, and it's still pretty good on rangers and archers too. The only classes that can really use it that's not very good on should just be using plate anyway. So A tier skill. Okay, finally we have the miscellaneous skills. The worthless skill Diplomacy has been removed, but they've added 4 skills, and most of them are not good, but one of them is really good. So let's just get into them. Up first we have Alchemy. So this is changed from in 6 where you can just mix any potions with any character. Now there's a skill that you have to get to mix certain potions. Alchemy can be learned to Grandmaster by druids. It can be learned to Master by sorcerers. Clerics and thieves can get expert. Rangers can get basic. Archers, paladins, monks, and knights cannot learn the skill at all. You can get this alchemy skill from an alchemist shop, and you can get expert in Tellurian or Burkina Desert. You can get master in Nyon and grandmaster in Avli. There is Clanker's Amulet, which is a guaranteed item in Clanker's Laboratory that gives you plus 15 alchemy. And this skill allows you to mix potions at normal. It allows you to make the potions with secondary colors. So without alchemy, you can only use reagents red, blue, and yellow, and you can't even make the catalyst or mix them together. At normal, you can use the catalysts, and you can make the green, purple, and orange potions. At expert, you can mix those together to make compound potions. At master, you can make white potions, and grandmaster, you can make black potions. The grandmaster black potions aren't very good. The stat boosting potions, you're better off just getting in a shop. They aren't improved. They always give you plus 50 no matter what the power is. Alchemy is not particular. It has uses in the sense that if you have a high skill, which you can obviously get with alchemy items, plus you have Clanker's Amulet, so you can get like pretty good bonuses, but you don't really need them because the body magic is so good in this game. You're going to be able to heal very quickly. Meditation, obviously, you can just go to back to town and get your spell points. Like, there's really not much use for alchemy. There is one good potion that I like, that being Hardened Item. This basically makes repairing items or relevant. You just harden any item that you want, and you don't have to worry about them breaking, which is very good. Though you don't necessarily need a alchemist to make these potions, since you can buy them in stores. Really, there's not much use in alchemy aside from getting it to expert just so you can make hard item potions at your convenience without having to buy them. It's a B tier skill. It has some uses, but overall the skill isn't that great, as they're just better ways of accomplishing what you want. And you can also buy them in stores, certain potions that you would want in stores anyway, so not particularly great, but it's still kind of nice. Up next we have Armsmaster. Armsmaster can be learned to Grandmaster by Knights. Thieves and monks can get Master. Archers and Paladins can get Expert, as well as Rangers. And Druids can get Basic. Clerics and Sorcerers cannot learn the skill. You can get the skill in a training hall. You can get Expert in Deja or D'Italia. You can get Master in Avlay and Grandmaster in Land of the Giants. As I've mentioned, there is Wallace, which gives a +10 bonus to Armsmaster. And the Armsmaster skill gives you a bonus, a reduction in recovery time on all melee weapons. At Expert you get an attack bonus. At Master you get a bonus to damage. At Grandmaster you get 2 points for all of the 3. So every point gives you 2 damage points. This is a really good skill. First of all, it makes getting reduced recovery rate on weapons a lot easier, so a lot of weapons that were too slow in 6 are a lot more viable now. Plus, you can get really crazy damage, like I've mentioned before. You get enchant item. You can enchant a helmet or armor, which I know give bonus to Armsmaster. For some reason, some of the other items like cloaks and belts don't give it, from what I've seen, but get that +17. If you have Grandmaster, then that's +34 damage. That's crazy right there. One downside for Grandmaster is it's kind of hard to get to unless you rush for it with invisibility, which actually I might even recommend, because it's the damage bonuses you get are very good, very powerful, getting your damage up. It's good on thieves and monks as well, although I think the monk Armsmaster might be bugged. I think it gives bonus to staff, but not to unarmed, or maybe it's the other way, or I don't remember, but it's not as good on monks, but thieves obviously can use it. So, and obviously on knights it's super powerful. It's not as good on paladins, rangers, and archers, because they only get expert since they're not getting damage. It's only really good to lower your recovery so that you can get to faster recovery quicker. And the same goes for druids, although you don't really want to be meleeing with druids anyway. So I put Armsmaster at A tier. Definitely important for any melee character to have if they are able to get to mastery. And just get pump the Armsmaster, and you're going to be really good. Damage output. Next we have bodybuilding, which can be learned to Grandmaster by knights and monks. Paladins can get master. Thieves can get expert, as well as archers and rangers. Clerics can get basic. Druids and sorcerers can't get the skill. You can get bodybuilding in a training hall. You can get expert in Stone City and Bracada Desert. You can get master in Deja and Grandmaster in Nyan. There are no items that give bonuses to bodybuilding, so that's unfortunate, but basically whatever, like in 6, whatever your base class hit point bonus is, it's you getting 1 point, and then an expert to Grandmaster you're getting 4. Well, expert 2, master 3, and then Grandmaster 4. So at Grandmaster, I think knights get 9 or something. I think it's 9. So that's like Grandmaster, you're getting 36 per point. So a lot of hit points. Obviously, any class that can get bodybuilding, you want it, because it's a very easy way of just getting a boost to your health, which is really good. I put bodybuilding at S tier. Really good to have, so definitely recommend it. Up next we have Identify Item, which can be learned by, well, sorcerers can get Grandmaster, thieves can get Master, druids can get Expert, and rangers can get Basic. Knights, monks, paladins, archers, and clerics cannot learn the skill. You can get Identify Item in a magic shop. You can get Expert in Harmondale or Nyan. You can get Master in Bracada and Grandmaster in Tularian. Items that are enchantable can give you Identify Item bonus up to 17. So getting the skill up isn't very important. Obviously you still have the Scholar that you can get, but even if you don't, then you can get ID items. Obviously, being able to look at what items you get when you have RNG drops, very useful. I put Identify Item at B tier because you don't need to pump it as much because of all the ID items that you can get. But it's good to have, especially if you don't want to bother with the Scholar. So like in 6, it's basically if you get it to Grandmaster, it works all the time, but obviously with a plus 17 item, you would only need to get like Master realistically, and maybe like a point beyond that. But yeah, B tier skill, still decent, but not great. Probably don't need to bother with Grandmaster. Up next we have Identify Monster. This is another new skill. This skill cannot be learned by knights, thieves, paladins, archers. It can be learned to expert by monks, clerics, and druids. It can be learned to Grandmaster by rangers and sorcerers. And what this does is when you right click on a monster, it'll tell you the hit points and armor class of the monster. At expert, it'll give you the attack type and damage. Master, it'll tell you which spells. At Grandmaster, you can learn the resistances. The skill is whether or not it works or whether they can identify it is determined by your skill points. Identify Monster is a garbage skill. You already have Identify Monster at Grandmaster. When you start the game, it's called having an internet connection. There's no reason to ever use this skill. If you ever want to know what any monster does or what properties they have, you can always just look it up. There's no reason to bother with this skill. A complete waste of skill points. RP tier all the way. Up next we have Learning. Learning can be learned by every class in the game. Knights can get basic, as well as paladins, thieves, thieves, thieves. Paladins and knights can get learning to basic. Thieves and rangers can get to expert. Sorcerers, druids, clerics, and archers can get to master, and monks can get to grandmaster. You can get learning in magic guilds. You can get expert in Deja or Bracada. You can get master in Nyon and grandmaster in Evanmorn. There aren't any item skills that will give you bonuses to learning. You basically only have the NPCs that'll do that. And like in 6, it basically is the exact same. It gives you a bonus to percentage of experience points earned. Right, starting off with 9 plus whatever the skill point is at up to Grandmaster, which is giving you 4 per skill point. So it would be at Grandmaster it would be 49, I believe. So learning it's obviously nice to have because it gives you more levels, but the levels that you get are not great. It's not really worth getting to Grandmaster at all. In fact, it might even not be worth to get to Expert. I remember I once had a monk in my party with Grandmaster Learning, and then the other characters had, I think, Master. And by the time I closed the game at level 80, I had 2 more levels than the other party. So the XP bonus was not very important. You're really only getting a few levels by the time you clear the game. plus a lot of the experience that you're going to get aside from the XP farming with Armageddon is going to be from quests. A lot of those quests are going to give you like 10 levels. You know, when you complete like main quests, like the one with Zenefex, for example, or any of the advisor quests. So learning isn't great. The bonuses that you get when you level it up aren't spectacular. And really the main benefit that learning would have in 6 is that you can get it a lot of levels immediately. Like, you can start the game, get Armageddon, and then immediately kill a bunch of monsters, a shitload of them with Armageddon, and get a shitload of levels. You can't really do that in 7. There's a lot of restrictions, especially in terms of skill points, so I wouldn't really bother getting the skill up. It's obviously good to just learn the skill, but I wouldn't put very many points in it. I put it at B tier. It's a nice bonus, but it's not going to make much of a considerable amount of difference. Up next we have Disarm Trap. Disarm Trap can be learned to Grandmaster by thieves. Monks can get Master only on Dark Path. On Light Path, they're stuck with Expert along with Archers and Rangers. Knights can get Basic. Paladins, Clerics, Druids, and Sorcerers cannot learn the skill. You can get Disarm Trap at Anen. You can get Expert in Tularan Forest and Arathia. You can get Master in Harmondale. You can get Expert Disarm in the sewers in Arathia from William Lasker, the Thief promotion. And then Grandmaster in Nyan. There are items that give bonuses to Disarm Trap. And there's an artifact. There are plenty of artifacts like Corsair, the Cutlass, which gives +5 Disarm. You have Old Nick, which gives +5 Disarm. You have Herrick's Leather, which gives +5 Disarm. You have the Lady Carmine's Dagger, which gives you +2. And then there's the Shadow Mask, which gives you +3 Disarm. There are a few problems with Disarm. First of all, you can get items that boost your Disarm. You can get an enchant item, which is going to give you +17 Disarm, plus artifacts that also Disarm. That's going to make so you don't really need to get this skill to Grandmaster is almost completely pointless. And also you have Telekinesis, which makes Disarm Trap irrelevant if you have it. That being said, Disarm Trap is a pretty good skill early on because you don't have access to a lot of the things that would make Disarm Trap irrelevant. So a lot of the early game dungeons, or a lot of the early game areas with chests, they have a disarming cap at 12. So if you have 12 points, you can disarm most of the early game dungeon, early game chests. And areas like the Haunted Mansion, you can disarm them with 24. So if you get like Expert Disarm and then a decent, if you get just a regular disarming item, you can open most of the chests. And so that's kind of nice, although you still can just use regeneration, so that's kind of, it's not really all that necessary, but it's convenient to have, so, and it's going to save you the time of not having to worry about your characters being killed in the early game. So it's a good early game skill. Late game, it's completely worthless. Even, you don't even care about just setting them off anyway, because they don't do very much damage anyway, and you have Grandmaster Regeneration at that point. So I put Disarm at B tier. Okay, early game, mid to late game, not as important. Next we have Meditation. Meditation can be learned it can be learned to Grandmaster by Druids, Master by Sorcerers and Clerics. Archers and Paladins can get Expert, Rangers can get Basic, Monks, Thieves, and Knights cannot learn the skill. You can get Meditation I believe in the Self Schools. You can get Expert in Deja or Nyan, Master in Bakata, and Grandmaster in Avli. Like I said, with Etheric's Staff, that gives you a plus 15 to Meditation. So crazy amount of spell points right there. That's well, I don't remember what the second promotion is. I think it's like 6, right? So 6, if you have that at Master, 36, I mean, you do the math right now, that's like 500 spell points. Just crazy amount of spell points right there. So obviously Meditation is an S tier skill, really good as for any spellcaster. You're going to be able to cast Armageddon and Shrapnel, as well as other spells, a lot longer without having to go heal or teleport. Really good S tier skill. Magic is so good in this game, and you want to pump the magic as much as possible. Up next we have Merchant. Merchant reduces costs, obviously. At Grandmaster, it sells all items at cost or buys. Clerics can get Grandmaster, Merchant, Thieves can get Master, Druids, Archers, Paladins, and Knights can get Expert. Sorcerers can get Basic, as well as Rangers, and Monks cannot learn the skill. You can get Meditation, and you can get Merchant at a temple. You can get Expert in Stone City or Tolarian. You can get Master in Evanmore and Grandmaster in Rakata. There are no items that can boost your Merchant skill. Merchant is obviously good. Reduces prices, like in 6. It's going to make getting a lot of the spells you need very convenient, as well as training as well. But you really don't need to get it by the time you would get Grandmaster. It's not really, but you're gonna have more than enough money, more likely than not, unless you're really just farming for levels. And another problem with Merchant is that you have a limited access to what shit you can get in terms of spells and skills, so you can't really just go and get everything immediately. So being able to have a lot of money immediately is not as important. I put Merchant at A tier. It's a good skill to have. Obviously, you should at least get it immediately, get the skill, but you don't really need to bother getting it to like Grandmaster. At best, maybe Master. Although getting Master is kind of a pain because you need the 50 personality, which I mentioned with bodybuilding. You need 50 endurance, and basically you need to actually and learning, I think it's 50 intellect. I don't remember if Disarm was like speed or something, but you need to actually have the base stat, so you can't just cast Day of the Gods and then get the skill. You have to actually have it at base, which is kind of annoying. But Merchant is an A tier skill. Good to reduce your prices, but it's not as good as 6, and you're not gonna find it necessary to have completely, so A tier. Up next we have Perception. Perception can be learned to Grandmastery by Rangers. It can be, you can get Expert with Thieves and excuse me, it was Grandmaster Perception for Archers only, and Master Rangers. Rangers can get Master as well as Thieves, Knights, Clerics as well as Druids and Sorcerers can get Expert. Paladins can get Basic. Every class can learn Perception. You can get Perception in an Innkeep, I believe. Rangers start with it, or they start with the Identify Monster. I think it's Perception though. No, it's, no, I don't remember, but you can get Expert in Harmondale or Avallay. You can get Master in Tolarian, Grandmaster in Deja. There are no items that boost Perception. Perception is kind of garbage. It doesn't really do anything other than it shows you where items are, or excuse me, it shows you where traps are, and it also gives you the ability to loot piles without getting diseased, and it also allows you to click on campfires and get rings, which I guess you can sell. It's a nice little utility, like really early on in terms of getting items that you can sell and make some money, but it's kind of worthless beyond that. You really don't want to put any points into Perception. You just, it's only good at basically the base level, so I would put Perception at C tier. It's not completely worthless, but it's not particularly useful. It's just kind of like a nice little bonus that you can get. I think also some items drop when you enter areas. Like, I think you could get like a horseshoe or something, an extra horseshoe in an area, which is kind of nice a little bit, but nothing crazy or to write home about. So Perception I put at C tier. Up next we have Repair Item. Repair Item can be learned by, well, it can be learned to Grandmaster by Knights and Paladins. It can get Mastery by Clerics. Sorcerers, Archers can get Expert. Rangers and Thieves can get Basic. Monks and Druids cannot learn the skill at all. You can get Repair Item in a magic shop. You can get the skill. You can get Expert in Harmondale and Stone City. You can get Master in Tatalia. You can get Grandmaster in Evanmorn. I'm pretty sure there's no items that can boost your Repair Item. Repair Item is kinda worthless in 7 simply because of the introduction of Harden Item skill. So if you have Harden Item, you can just harden your items and not have to repair them at all. So there's not really much point in getting Repair Item. There's no point wasting skill points on your Knight or Cleric to get this skill up. It's really only good more as convenience more than anything if you don't want to bother hardening a bunch of items or going to a store to repair them. Might be okay early on, but if you are going to use them, you probably shouldn't bother past Expert. You don't want to be putting 54 points in skill points on this skill. Obviously, again, at Grandmaster you can repair anything, but if you just harden items, then you don't have to repair them at all. So I'd put Repair Item at C tier. It's not a completely useless skill. Obviously, hardening all your items might be a bit of a pain, but another thing with a Repair Item that's makes it worse is that there are not nearly as many monsters that break your items, so you don't have to worry about it as much. So I'd put Repair Item at C tier. It's not very good. Obviously it has a positive use, and there are the other ways that you can get it may not be as convenient, but it's in no way necessary to have, so I put it at C tier. And finally, we have Stealing. And on a completely garbage skill, it can only be learned by Thieves, Monks, and Rangers. Thieves can get it to Grandmaster. Monks can get it to Expert on Dark Path, otherwise they're stuck at Basic. Rangers can get it to Expert. Thieves start with the Stealing skill. You can get Stealing, I believe, in a tavern. I could be mistaken. You can get Expert in Harmondale or Arathia, and Master in Deja, and Grandmaster in Tidewater. There are obviously artifacts that can boost your Stealing, and items. You have Corsair, which gives you +5 Stealing, Herrick's Leather with +5 Stealing, and then Shadow Mask, which is giving you +3 Stealing. Stealing is completely useless. Basically, what you do is you can use it in shops. You click Control, you have Control key, and you click on items, and you can attempt to steal in stores. You cannot steal in magic spellbook shops, and you can also use it to steal from NPCs. This is completely garbage. It has a very high chance of failing unless you get the skill pretty high, and even then it's not any good. You don't want to steal from shops. If you fail, then you're banned from the shop completely, and you also lose or get fined, and then you can go to jail if you don't want to bother with that. So really garbage. There's not really any reason to steal. There's nothing you really can get. Maybe if you can steal books, it would be like if you can steal from spell guilds, it would be okay, but it's really garbage, and you're probably not going to be that desperate for money that you would need to steal anything. I put it at RP tier. It's really garbage. No reason to use it. I really don't recommend it unless you're role-playing. It's just not worth it. Not for the skill points and not for the effort that you have to put into. So that's going to do it for the skills guide for Might and Magic VII. Next we have the skills guide for Might and Magic VIII, and I'm not sure what I would be doing after that. Maybe an NPC guide, but we'll see. But I'll see you guys later.